This is Dale Williams, who faced charges for murder in June 2017. He caused a fatal crash involving his ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth Pledger Stewart, and subsequently shot her multiple times. During the court proceedings, the victim's sons, Anthony Dees and Jerome Stewart, reacted emotionally and attacked on Dale, which led to the police had to use their tasers to bring order to the court. The session was paused, allowing the victim's aunt to convey her sorrow over the loss.
When we saw him, his face, we felt it was so much emotion due to a flashback of how he just killed my niece.
Dale was later sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. His trial serves as a stark reminder of the deep emotional turmoil in courtrooms seeking justice for such tragic crimes. In August 2019, 19-year-old Lindy Jones murdered 18-year-old Willie Antoine Fields in South Carolina. After investigations, Lindy Jones and his younger brother Jalen Jones were arrested. During the court proceedings, the victim's mother, Angela Fields, addressed Lindy.
Your Honor, I just want to let you know just what they took from me. They took away my only child.
Her husband, Willie Clay Fields, was consoling her but suddenly became overwhelmed with emotion and attacked on Lindy. The situation quickly escalated, prompting court officers to intervene. They urged Mr. Fields to step back, their voices firm but understanding.
Sir, back off, back off, sir, back off, back off, back off, sir.
Eventually, the officers managed to create distance between Mr. Fields and Lindy Jones, restoring order to the courtroom. As the legal proceedings concluded, the judge delivered the sentences. Lindy Jones received 35 years in prison for his actions, and his younger brother, Jalen, was sentenced to 6 years in juvenile detention. This is Vashon Flowers, who paints a scary picture of domestic violence that escalates into unimaginable loss. In a moment of rage sparked by a disagreement over cigarettes, Vashon Flowers fatally shot his wife, Jamie Thomas Flowers, leaving their family shattered. Now in court, the daughter of the victim recounts the horrifying events that led to her mother's death.
Actually, I heard, "You don't have to do this, Vashon. Please don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then I heard gunshots.
During the sentencing, London Thomas, the son of the victim, is overcome with emotion and cannot contain his grief and fury. The judge eventually sentenced Vashon to life imprisonment. This is Michael Madison, a serial killer facing multiple charges, including 3 counts of murder in Ohio between 2012 and 2013. Michael Madison was eventually arrested and charged with the murders of 3 women. The courtroom became a place of intense emotions as the families of the victims sought justice. During the proceedings, Van Terry, the father of one of the victims, stood to address the court. His words were heavy with pain and anger.
How you doing, Your Honor? My name is Van Terry. Wow, that's your really Terry. Right now, I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this clown. Who's touched our families, taken my child.
As Mr. Terry turned to face Michael Madison directly, something unthinkable happened. Madison smirked at the grieving father. This small gesture was enough to push Mr. Terry over the edge. In a flash of movement, he lunged towards Madison. Court officers quickly intervened, restraining Mr. Terry and preventing him from reaching Madison. The jury, after careful consideration of the evidence, recommended the death penalty for Michael Madison. Judge Nancy McDonnell, in delivering the final sentence, expressed her shock.
I am struck by the sheer inhumanity of what one human being can do to not one, but 3 human beings. It is incomprehensible. You cajoled, lured, and deceived Shatisha Shealy, Angela Deskins, and Sherelda Terry to your apartment for your depraved purposes. You went on to abuse the corpses of these 3 victims. You stripped them from the waist down. You folded them in half, binding them so that their feet were up by their ears. You wrapped them in multiple layers of trash bags, and you discarded them.
With these words, Michael Madison was sentenced to death. He currently remains on death row, awaiting the final implementation of his sentence. This is 18-year-old Payton Gendron. His case stands out due to its racial motivation and the number of victims involved. On May 14, 2022, Gendron, the city of New York, witnessed a horrific act of violence. A self-proclaimed white supremacist, Payton, opened fire in a predominantly black patronized, Tops-friendly market store in New York. His actions resulted in the deaths of 10 black individuals and injured 3 others before he was finally stopped and arrested. The courtroom during Gendron's trial was filled with grief, anger, and pain. Family members of the victims were given the opportunity to speak directly to the man who had caused them so much suffering. Barbara Massey, the sister of one of the victims, didn't hold back her feelings.
Cat didn't hurt anybody. That ain't fair, be dead. You gonna come to our city and decide you don't like black people. Man, you don't know a damn thing about black people. We're human.
The emotions in the room were so intense that at one point a family member attempted to attack Gendron physically.
No neighborhoods and take people out. Don't do it.
Court officers quickly intervened to prevent any physical confrontation. After the families had spoken, Gendron was given a chance to address the court. He expressed remorse for his actions.
I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones. I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up.
Given the severity of his crimes and the clear racial motivation behind them, the judge sentenced.
The damage you have caused is too great, and the people you have hurt are too valuable to this community. You will never see the light of day as a free man ever again. It is the judgment of this court for your conviction under the first count of the indictment, a domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate in the first degree, an A1 felony, that you be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
This is Tristan Lamoreaux, who was 25 years old at the time, took the life of his young wife, Misty Lamoreaux. Misty was only 19 years old when she died at the hands of her husband. During the court proceedings, Misty's brother, Jason Wilson, stood to deliver a victim impact statement. As Jason spoke about how the murder had affected him and his family, people in the courtroom noticed something disturbing. Tristan appeared unconcerned, rocking back and forth in his chair as if he didn't have a care in the world. Jason suddenly turned his focus from addressing the judge to confronting his sister's killer directly. In a moment of intense anger, Jason lunged towards Tristan. Court deputies reacted quickly, intercepting Jason before he could reach Tristan. They restrained him and led him away from the defendant's table, restoring order to the courtroom. Once calm was restored, the proceedings continued. After considering all the evidence and testimony, the judge delivered the sentence. Tristan Lamoreaux was given 15 years to life in prison for taking the life of his young wife. This Frank DeLeon, the person responsible for the death of 16-year-old Diamond Alvarez, 19-year-old Frank DeLeon Jr., who had been in a relationship with Diamond. But as their relationship was ending, Frank made the terrible decision to end Diamond's life. On January 11th, 2023, he shot her, not once or twice, but 22 times while she was walking her dog. During the proceedings, as Diamond's mother spoke, Frank smirked at her. This enraged her, and she attempted to confront him. But before she could reach Frank, Diamond's uncle jumped from the gallery and attacked him. Frank's mother rushed to his defense, attacking Diamond's mother, which led Diamond's aunt to intervene. Eventually, the police separated the two families. After the incident, Diamond's mother stated,
Whatever happened, it was wrong of us. And I apologize for that. Apologize to the judge. Apologize to them. When I'm wrong, and I accept it. And I'm so sorry, and it should never happen.
In the end, Frank DeLeon Jr. agreed to a plea deal. The judge sentenced him to 45 years in prison for his actions.